Hello, my beautiful creatives. How are you today? I am in my studio right now and I have a very special message for you today, and I think that today's video is going to be really helpful for you as you plan out your year. And I know that we've had a lot of challenges this year, the coronavirus among other things, but it is exciting that as artists we have so much within our control because we work on our own time and we don't need anyone else to get that work done. So that part of it is exciting, and it's amazing that the future is in your hands, ready to be written. I recently saw a post that said, "Your future lays before you like freshly fallen snow. Take care the steps you take, for every step will show." And it's so true. Every little thing we do in our life eventually compounds, and eventually the invisible will show itself, even if it is not obvious at first. The invisible work is so important, especially for us artists, and I'm so grateful for everything that I was able to accomplish this year. I had a solo show which was very successful in a really beautiful gallery I was super proud of. I launched my first online course. I began teaching as a college art professor. I was featured in Beautiful Bazaar and other publications. And I had my highest revenue year from my art so far, and fulfilled a lifelong dream of hiking in the redwood forest, which was so awesome. Although these things only take one sentence to write, they actually took months and really years of action to come to fruition. For instance, my solo art exhibition took hundreds of hours to prepare. In a very unglamorous privacy of my studio, I spent many late nights working away at all the details of this exhibition. And every decision to work on my painting instead of go out with my friends or watch Netflix compounded the results of my exhibition. This is just one example of how I got the results I did this year. The online course took months of writing, filming, and preparation before I was able to launch it. Likewise, I would not have been able to get a job as a college art professor had I not gone through years of schooling and getting my Master of Fine Arts at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. Although the hard work can seem grueling while you're in it, eventually you will see the results of your efforts or your non-efforts. And I don't want you to think that I'm bragging when I tell you this. It's always been an uphill battle for me to continually challenge myself and work on my long-term goals. And as a society living in today's digital world, we are distracted. We must realize the value of committing deeply to a task for a set amount of time and entering the state of flow. And when we get into that deep work, that is when the really inspired artwork comes to your studio walls, and that's when you really start seeing really great work come out of your fingertips. So this year, I initiated methods of working that were blocks of time dedicated only to my art making. I wasn't allowed to look at my phone or computer, or get a cup of tea, or call or text anyone. I simply blocked off 2-hour sections of time and created intensely. And you know what? It was really hard. I struggled with it, just like when you're, running an extra mile and your body protests because it wasn't used to it. My brain just wasn't used to such dedication, which is kind of embarrassing. But I had the urge to go for a walk, check my email, text a friend, or otherwise distract myself from the pain of focus. Just like doing a math problem, my brain has to work extra hard when creating a realistic piece of art. And I know a lot of you guys create realism as well, getting the right values, colors, and proportions. And I could feel my brain stretching as I focused for those chunks of time. Even though it was hard, the results I got this year were far and above what I had gotten in previous years. I created some of my favorite pieces. And I remember one particular day I blocked off a few hours to create, and I got into such a state of flow that I didn't even realize that 6 hours had passed. And I didn't stop until the piece was finished. And I was shocked that I was able to finish such a large, technically detailed piece in just 6 hours. It's probably my favorite piece this year. And it's a physical piece of evidence that what you do when you compress your time and get into that really focused state of flow, you're able to accomplish far more than you could ever imagine. So as we step into this year, things are going to be starting to open up again with the coronavirus soon. And ask yourself what you want to experience in your art career in the next 365 days, even in the next decade, which is 3,650 days, if I got that right. So here are a few ideas how to break that down. I have 3 steps for you that I believe will be helpful in casting your vision as you move into a new era of your artistic career. Number 1, identify what your dream career looks like. The first step is to identify your wildest dreams. That is the what. If anything were possible within your art career, what would that look like for you? Let go mentally of any circumstances holding you back as you imagine this. You may have a limiting thought that you are too old or too young for success. You don't have enough time, you don't live in the right place, you don't have the funds to make the art. It could be anything negative that you have holding you back. Just temporarily suspend that limiting circumstance and imagine that it was not holding you back, but it was in fact an asset. Imagine how your art career would look like in its most ideal form. Where do you show your work? What artists do you show with? What kind of work do you make? And how do you feel about the work that you do make? How often do you work on your art? What kind of awards have you won? Are you teaching, traveling anywhere? What are you doing for residencies? Are you traveling? What kind of people support your art? And how do you make money? Although a topic for another post, selling your artwork is not the only way to make money as an artist. There is also so many other ways. Artwork is not the only way to make money as an artist. So you can gain a fan base on Patreon, selling licenses of your art, winning grants, doing commissions, doing public artworks, doing live events, and much, much more. Write down the answers to the prompts in vivid detail. Number 2, identify who you want to be. The next step in planning out your year, the next step is to identify who you are when you are the artist that you described above. If all of your wildest dreams came true in your art career, who are you as that version of yourself? Does she get up at 6 a.m. and paint until noon? Or is she in the studio every day, 9 to 5, like a regular job? Does she visit museums? Does she travel? Does she teach? What does she do? Where does she go to meet people who could help her in her career? How does she think about the contribution that she is making through her art? Write it all down. Number 3, identify your top 3. The third step is to look at your dreams that you just wrote down and take within it your top 3 artistic goals that you would like to accomplish this year. Even if you think the goals would be impossible to achieve within 1 year, I still want you to write them down. Why? Because when you identify a long-term goal, even if it feels very, very lofty, you will automatically, your brain will strive to align itself with that goal. You see, your brain is like a missile. When you put a destination in front of it, your amazing mind will look for ways to reach that goal. It works like magic. Eventually, even if it doesn't happen within the first year, you will be aligned with your goal. Each day, you'll get a little closer if you keep it at the forefront of your consciousness. So take your top 3 goals and write them very large, and somewhere where you can really see them in your studio. Look at them every day and be inspired. Okay, tip 4, make mini goals. Once you have your top 3 goals, I want you to work on them one at a time. Take each goal and break it down into 12 mini goals, one for each month. For instance, if one goal is to have a body of work you are really proud of this year, you can have a goal of making 3 amazing pieces per month that you are really proud of. This could overlap with your other goals of applying to 100 shows or opportunities this year, which breaks down to only 12 applications per month or 3 applications per week. Number 5, block out time. This is the most important one. Once you've made mini goals for each month that support your top 5 goals, take out your calendar and block out the time that you need to make that happen every day. Schedule out 3 months in advance so you can build momentum. And then be sure to show up and keep the promise to yourself to work on that goal. Remember, it's your invisible work or showing up that will create the reality of you having your dreams come true. I realize that when you're trying to achieve new goals, old habits can be really hard to overcome. That is because the brain is wired to seek pleasure and to avoid pain and be as efficient as possible. This is great when we're in the wilderness, avoiding wild animals and the cold and pain, looking for fruits and berries and somewhere soft and safe to lie down, and looking for the shortest way to get there, being as efficient as possible. These hardwired instincts are actually really good because they have kept us alive as the human race for centuries. However, in the modern world, we have to be aware of our instincts and how they can hold us back. You see, in the modern world, and more particularly as a modern artist, avoiding pain could look like, procrastinating on a project because of the effort it takes, or seeking pleasure could look like watching Netflix to escape your reality, or snacking on things that are not optimal for your health because of short-term pleasure. So we have to watch out for that. And seeking the most efficient way possible could look like trying to get success before you've put in the work and made the artwork that you're actually proud of. You see, we're no longer running from bears and foraging for, nuts and berries. Well, most of us anyway. But those instincts are still there. And if we plan from our prefrontal cortex, which is the smart part of our brain that allows us to plan and rationalize and create, then we can overcome these really basic instincts while still appreciating them and thanking them for keeping us alive. We can transcend our most basic state by identifying our goals and our dreams and working to achieve them. And what is art all about, if not about transcendence beyond ourselves? Another thing I'd like you to think about as an artist is your duty. Now this really, it makes a difference for me when I get up in the morning. If you have decided to be an artist, then you have a duty to express your vision to the world. The world needs to see your creations and will be a better place because of it. It is your sacred duty to fulfill that job that only you can do. And one last thought, and this is really fun, and I've definitely done this many times, is to create a vision board that includes images of your top 3 artistic goals for the year. That may include an image of the gallery you hope to show at, the kind of artwork you'd like to make, places you'd like to visit, and images and words that reflect who you'd like to be as you accomplish your top 5 goals. This can be helpful to keep motivation going as you do the hard work of the day-to-day grind of working on your goals. Especially as visual artists, we can be very stimulated by visuals, and this can help us really get in the mood to create and focus and remember why we are doing it in the first place. Okay, so I hope that has been super helpful to you as you turn over to the rest of this year and you choose how you'd like to spend this year. Despite all the challenges in the world, we have a lot to be thankful for. And lastly, I have a gift for you that I think will be extremely useful to you as you plan out your year. I've created a free guide for you. It's called 30 Days to 3K, the definitive guide to authentically selling your artwork online. It's the exact process I use to create income from my art, and I'm sharing it with you for free. So if you would like to get it, you can just click the link in my bio or somewhere around here and visit the website www.thevisionaryartistsalon.com, and you can download it there. And I hope it really serves you. And it's the exact process that I use to sell my artwork online. So, all right, that's all I have for you today. So now go forth